Hi everyone, this is Veronica, and today our topic of discussion is issue of Sri Lankan Tamils. So we have seen as CAA passed in both the houses, we have seen protests rising out in all parts of the country. But today we will talk about what is Sri Lankan Tamils issue associated with citizenship of India. So to connect with me for updates and queries, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook because I feel together we can make a difference. So now here I'll tell you the relevance of this topic. It will be covered in your population and associated issues. Objective level, you should know about NRC, about the refugees from Sri Lanka. It's very important because somewhere we have left this topic out of the discussion. So now in what context today we are studying this? See, the exclusion of Sri Lankan Tamils figured prominently in the debate of Citizenship Amendment Bill and has handed the opposition in Tamil Nadu a stick to beat the ruling party in the state. Because you have seen about this CAB bill, now it is CAA, but here they have not mentioned about the minorities from Sri Lanka, especially the Sri Lankan Tamils. And a criticism of the Citizenship Amendment Act of 2019, it is questioning that why Tamil refugees from Sri Lanka will not be given citizenship under the new law. So firstly here you should know about who are actually these Tamil refugees. See, about 1 lakh Tamils from Sri Lanka, they live in India, including some 60,000 in camps across Tamil Nadu. And these refugees are mostly Hindu and are both Sri Lankan and Indian origin. These refugees, see, here some 4.6 repatriations. Okay, so the word is repatriations, that means coming back to one's native place. So around 4.6 lakh repatriations from Sri Lanka have been officially recorded so far, and besides there are thousands of Tamils of Sri Lankan origin who sought asylum in our country in India, and at least 20% of these refugees they claim an Indian origin on the basis of Sri Lankan birth certificates that identify them as Indian Tamil. So their birth certificate says that these people are Indian Tamils, and even the documents that trace their links to Indian grandparents or other ancestors. So now the question is, when did the refugees from Sri Lanka arrive in India? So now these Tamils who have come from Sri Lanka, they can be separated into two categories on the basis of the year 1983. Those who came before 1983 and those who came after 1983. So after 1983, like when the separatist movement in the island nation took a violent turn. So to escape from that violence, followed by series of anti-Tamil riots, lot of Tamil people, they fled to India. And now most of 1 lakh documented Sri Lankan illegal migrants, see, they are also illegal immigrants who live in Tamil Nadu today, fled the ethnic conflict. So they wanted to escape persecution from the ethnic conflict. And those who reached India before 1983 were mostly your Indian origin Tamils whose forefathers migrated to Sri Lanka a century previously. Mainly they wanted to work in the tea plantations. Now see what happened in 1964. Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri and Shri Mavo Bandaranaike, they signed an agreement to allow around 9,75,000 people of Indian origin in Sri Lanka who had citizenship of neither country. So they were given a choice to become citizens of country of their choice, whether they want to become the citizens of Sri Lanka or India. The choice was given to 9,75,000 people under this agreement, which was signed in 1964 by Prime Ministers Lal Bahadur Shastri and Shri Mavo. Now many of those who arrived in India until 1982 got legal accommodation. However, the process was not comprehensive and it was ultimately not completed. So now if we look today, what are the conditions of Tamil Nadu camps like? So about 19,000 Sri Lankan families comprising 60,000 individuals, they live in 107 camps in Tamil Nadu as it is written here, and some 10,000 of these inmates are children below the age of 8 So this is according to the latest survey, latest data that we have from August 2019. So technically, those who arrived by boat and other informal illegal channels during the war in Sri Lanka, they are totally considered as illegal immigrants and not the refugees. So there's a difference between the refugees and the illegal migration. So illegal migration from Sri Lanka, it took place through boat or some other illegal channels. So most of these illegal immigrants, they reached Tamil Nadu in 1980s, between 1980s and 1990s. So thereafter a few hundred came also over the years until arrival spurted during the last leg of war, which actually ended with the final defeat of LTTE, that is Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam. That was in 2009. So till 2009 we saw a lot of immigrations. Now talking about these refugees, what are their expectations? What are their aspirations? So obviously they expect citizenship of India. They want to take the Indian citizenship because they fear persecution and violence at the hands of Colombo government and Sinhala Buddhist majority if they return to Sri Lanka. And also most of Indian origin Tamils, they have ancestral roots, relatives and property in India also. So many could have got Indian citizenship under Shastri Bandaranaike Pact if they had chosen to come to India before the ethnic riots broke out in Sri Lanka. So if before they have came, so this pact was valid for them, but many who came after the ethnic conflict, India is sorry to give them the citizenship. But there is no process in India right now to give them citizenship, and these camps were built as a temporary arrangement for these people in distress to make them feel safe until such time as they could return to Sri Lanka after the normalcy was restored in Sri Lanka. So now talking about these refugees. So see, refugees for long, that means Tamil Nadu began witnessing this influx of refugees from August 1983, falling back July in Sri Lanka. Indian government maintained these refugees should go back on their own. So howsoever, we gave them a temporary residentship, not residentship but the accommodation at least, so that these people can feel safe. But India always maintained its stand that these people should back on their own. That is known as voluntary repatriation. We always believed in that because India has been following the principle of non-refoulement and favoring voluntary repatriation. And talking about Indira Gandhi, she was very clear in 1983. She said that we cannot take and will not take millions of Tamil refugees from Sri Lanka. This is keeping in mind the problems posed by migration of refugees from Bangladesh to India in early 1970s, and that problem we are still facing today. So India did not want to make the same mistake again. Okay, so here the Sri Lankan refugees, we have discussed about them, but now there is several different natures of repatriation. There is forcible repatriation. For example, in the early 1990s, after the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi in 1991, a controversy erupted over reports of section of refugees being sent back forcibly. Then you have UNHCR. UNHCR is the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. So Indian government agreed to allow representatives of UNHCR to screen refugees to ascertain the voluntary nature of repatriation. And when coming to UNHCR, they also involved in counseling the refugees, helping them obtain necessary documents, paying for their international travel and providing reintegration grants and post-return support also. And then talking about Indian government, we have also taken steps to facilitate voluntary repatriation. Visa fee is waived and overstay penalty is granted to non-camp refugees on a case-to-case basis. Then camp refugees are given this benefit as a matter of routine. So Tamil refugees' importance, if you see, if they return, they have their importance in Sri Lanka also. How? The civil war had an adverse demographic impact on the Tamils of Sri Lanka. You agree? The numerical strength of MPs from Tamil speaking areas has gone down over the years as Sri Lanka follows proportional representation. Now, if the refugees go back, they will help Tamils get more representatives in the Sri Lankan parliament. Okay, so here we can have a way ahead also, but before that, why they are not being included in CAA is the question that is arising. So we have to look back to Indo Sri Lankan Accord. So according to this accord, there is a reason for non-inclusion. The 1987 Indo-Sri Lankan Accord talks of repatriation. In 2011 report, we learned about the lessons and reconciliation commission set up by Mahendra Rajpaksha, and his regime called for voluntary repatriation. And they also stressed the need of creating a conducive environment for the refugees to return to and for initiating a formal bilateral consultation process. Recently also, Amit Shah also has given a statement where he said that for the appropriate time their citizenship would be considered. So this issue was taken up by the CM of Tamil Nadu, and such statements have been given. Now see, there is a way ahead. Way ahead how? Because Rajpakshas are back in power and President Rajpaksha is receptive to the idea of refugees returning to Sri Lanka. So India should resume negotiations with Sri Lanka to give a push to the process of voluntary repatriation. And obviously, safety is a very important thing, and Sri Lanka should create conditions that will ensure the safety and security of these refugees who will return to their homeland. Right? So this is all about today's discussion. If you have any query, you can connect with me on social media. Thank you. So this is a channel StudyIQ. If you're preparing for UPSC or any government exam, our pen drive and tablet courses are available. If you're preparing for UPSC CAA 2020, our pen drive course is available where you can find 100% coverage of UPSC vast syllabus. Daily current affair updates will be available. Self-paced learning process is provided. This course has been prepared by top faculties of StudyIQ, and now you can purchase this course at Rs 625 per month only. For additional information, you can visit our site, and there are the phone numbers also given. You can call them and gain the additional information. You can connect with me for my video updates on Instagram and Facebook, because I feel together we can make a huge difference. For queries, you can even email me. Thank you so much.